Thanks for joining me here on the Be Progressive Show. I am Brandon Neal. Tonight is Monday, January the 4th. We're going to take a look at this new perfect phone call with Donald Trump and Georgia. And we're going to take a look at what happened with the Force the Vote Medicare for All situation and how that played out. And we've got a few other fun stories and some maggotry to discuss. The Georgia Senate runoff tomorrow night is going to be one thing, which I am going to try and cover that live. Probably around 7 o'clock I'll start, and we'll go and see how long it's going to take, but I'll try and cover the whole thing. So we'll have all this and a few more tweets and a few funny things to look at, so stick around. This is the Be Progressive Show. So the orange waterhead Donald Trump has resorted to out and out begging like a child, and he has called up the Secretary of State in Georgia and basically asked for 11,000 some votes. Now, the right's going to tell you that, oh, no, he was just trying to say that he just needed to come up with that many votes, and that because they were all fraudulent, and that they should investigate and find me those 11,000 because I know that's what the right says. But to me, it sounds like if you've ever heard a mafia boss before in your life say, hey, this is going to be bad for you if you don't play ball here. And if you listen to this whole call, that's pretty much the tone for this call. Is that, hey, buddy, you're a Republican. He actually says that you're a Republican. You should be fighting for this, and basically saying that I can't believe that you're a Republican and you don't buy into my batshit crazy delusions, man. Come on. All the other Republicans are getting on board. I don't understand it. And if you listen to the call, the very first response by the Secretary of State, Trump is asking for these things and saying there's all these wild, fraudulent votes and all this stuff. And the Secretary of State responds with, your data's incorrect. So no, you're a dum-dum. But anyway, let's take a listen to this real quick.
There's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
In a stunning phone call this weekend, first obtained by the Washington Post, President Trump pressures Georgia's Republican Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, to find enough votes to overturn President-elect Joe Biden's win.
Biden has received 16,
handing the state's 16 electoral votes to him instead.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes. So tell me, Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this. And it's going to be very costly in many ways. And I think you have to say that you're going to re-examine it.
No, we don't actually have to say that we're going to re-examine it. We've already re-examined it twice. I do think hasn't Georgia recounted twice? I know they did once. So the votes have been counted at the bare minimum twice, if not 3 times. So no, your data is incorrect, just like Brad Raffensperger said. And you're done, bud. It's over. This guy is this is a very mafia boss like type, and he's probably used to dealing with the mob in New York. I wouldn't doubt it. And when you say things and phrases like, this is going to be very costly in many ways, and I think that you have to say that you're going to do this. I think you're going to have to go ahead and do this, And these are tactics that the mafia would use when shaking somebody down. And that's all. He has resorted to his roots of trying to shake people down like a mafia boss. That's all. It's amazing.
We have to stand by our numbers. We believe our numbers are right.
Yeah, they
Georgia
are.
has now counted their ballots 3 times, declaring Mr. Biden the winner each time. The Trump campaign has failed repeatedly to prove any of their allegations in court, and there is no credible evidence of fraud. On the phone call, the president continued to make allegations that have been debunked.
Mr. President, the problem you have with social media, people can say anything.
No, this isn't social media. This is Trump media.
President Trump baselessly accused
God.
Raffensperger of a cover-up and threatened that he and his general counsel may be in jeopardy.
You know what they did, and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense, and you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk.
Some Republicans are concerned the president's claims of fraud in Georgia will undermine faith in Tuesday's runoff elections, potentially costing his own party control of the U.S. Senate. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
I've already called it. I already say that both of those Senate, the Democrats in Georgia are going to win tomorrow night. Yeah. I honestly don't think they would have. I think maybe one. I don't know. Going into it, I didn't think they'd win either one, and then I thought, well, maybe Ossoff, he's doing really good, and then he backs out of the debate. Purdue backed out of the debate and all that, so it's like I really thought that maybe he would win, but probably not. We'd probably end up with both those Republicans. Well, now since the election and all this is going down, the polls are showing that it doesn't. It's not looking good for either one of the candidates, the Republican candidates in Georgia. It's just really not. They've lost 4 or 5 points in the polls, both of them. And 4 or 5 points in these polls, it could mean nothing. But when you see direct poll numbers like that immediately after this whole deal with Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell and the Rudy Giuliani and the Jenna Ellis and all these people that are making these wild and crazy conspiracy theories up off the top of their head and just making shit up and saying that the voting machines, the Dominion voting machines that are in Georgia, are rigged and that no one in Georgia should vote because it's a waste of time. They were literally telling Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell, they were literally telling Trump supporters, do not vote for these two candidates. And it's starting to reflect in the polls now, and then tomorrow's it, and they've also had I was reading yesterday that they had a record turnout as far as, or mail-in ballots in Democratic areas for this. And I honestly think both are going to win. I do. That's my call. And I think it's directly Donald Trump and this whole fraud election conspiracy theory's fault. And him attacking Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, and even at times veiled attacks on the two candidates and Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani and them. It's having a big impact, and I don't think that either Republican will win in Georgia. I do expect the Democrats to win. I could be wrong, but I don't know.
Harris campaigned for Democrats in the state Sunday and sharply criticized President Trump.
It was a bald-faced, bold abuse of power by the President of the United States.
Now, with concerns that President Trump may try to remain in office after January 20th, all 10 former living secretaries of defense, including the 2 that served in the Trump administration, wrote an op-ed saying efforts to involve the U.S. Armed Forces in resolving election disputes would take us into dangerous, unlawful, and unconstitutional territory. Now, today, President Trump, Vice President Mike Pence, and President-elect Joe Biden will all campaign in Georgia.
So we will see, but I think that Donald Trump has now cost those 2 Republicans their seats in the Senate, and I do believe that this will end up giving Donald Trump the Democrats the majority of the Senate. And they still won't be. They'll have the House, they'll have the president, and they'll have the Senate, and they still won't do jack shit. Because that's how it is. Look how much we got accomplished the last time we had a supermajority. Not a whole hell of a lot. So, especially when it's such thin numbers, if we take the Senate, with Kamala being the overriding voice, you're never going to get the Republicans that call themselves the Democrat, the Dinos, the Democrats in name only, the mansions. You're never going to get those people to agree with anything that's truly progressive. They're always going to go vote down. So, just because we get to technically control the Senate, we're not really going to control much of the Senate. So, anyway, let's move on here. I saw this story this morning. I wanted to briefly talk about this. This was a Colorado congresswoman saying that she will carry her gun to Congress. So, that's interesting. It says that Lauren Boebert, a Republican who was recently elected as a representative of the Western Colorado to the United States Congress, said Sunday night as she plans to carry a weapon to the lower house. Boebert did not mince words in her tweet. Let me tell you why I will carry my Glock to Congress. Government does not get to tell me or my constituents how we are allowed to keep our families safe. I promise to always stand strong for our Second Amendment rights. And I'm still not quite sure how taking your gun to Congress is going to keep your kids safe. But, you know, facts don't, logic doesn't matter in the world of Republican maggots. So this is the video here, and we'll click on this, and Twitter.com is blocked. Got it.
I'm Lauren Boebert, and I approve this message.
Cut. That's a wrap. Oh, you're trying to be a big tough girl. So cute.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm a newly elected congresswoman from Colorado. Even though I now work in one of the most liberal cities in America, I refuse to give up my rights, especially my Second Amendment rights. I will carry my firearm in D.C. and in Congress. This caused outrage from Democrats and the media. Why? It's our job in Congress to defend your rights, including your Second Amendment, and that's exactly what I'm here to do.
I don't understand how taking your gun to Congress helps defend anybody's gun rights. That's a silly thing to say. And you won't be taking your gun to Congress. You can make stupid ads and mouth off all you want, but you know, if you're not allowed to have a gun in there, you're not going to have I don't know whether or not they allow it. I would assume not. I haven't actually read this article all the way through. So, but if they don't want you to have the gun in there, honey, you're not going to have the gun in there.
In D.C., of all places, we should be encouraged to practice our rights. So forget what you hear in the fake news. Here are the real reasons why I choose to defend myself in our nation's capital. I'm a woman and a mother of 4. I choose to defend my family with all of the force the Constitution provides. D.C. is one of the top 10 most dangerous cities in our country. Homicide rates and violent crimes are skyrocketing here. Being a member of Congress is pretty basic. I don't go to work in a motorcade or armored car. I don't get police escorts everywhere I go. I walk to my office every morning by myself. So as a 5-foot-tall, 100-pound woman, I choose to protect myself legally because I am my best security. One of the challenges of working in D.C. is people here don't understand how we live in real America. The Second Amendment is part of our lives. Gun ownership is cherished, and it makes our little towns safer. As a young woman working late nights at a restaurant, I learned real fast how important it is to defend myself. After a violent incident outside my business, I took advantage of Colorado's open carry laws and began to carry at work. My waitresses asked if they could open carry too. And now Shooter's Grill has mandatory firearm training and target practice available for my staff, most of whom are young women. Educated, law-abiding gun owners are the safest people in America to be around. So when anyone comes in to limit the rights and safety of my family, I'll tell them.
Does anyone else notice that she's walking way too fast and she's winded? Check this out. Like, when this scene just started, I just noticed how fast she's walking. This is really funny.
Educated, law-abiding gun owners are the safest people in America to be around. So when anyone comes in to limit the rights and safety of my family, I'll tell them exactly what this mom thinks. I am here to say, hell no, you're not. I have 4 children. I'm 5'0", 100 pounds. Cannot really defend myself with a fist. So all you're going to do is restrict law-abiding citizens like myself. So this is why I choose to defend myself and my family. Not only is it my right, but it's a right I was sent here to protect from Rifle, Colorado. So if you see me in D.C., say hi. You're safe with me.
No, I wouldn't feel safe with you at all, honey. You obviously are dangerous as fuck walking around with that firearm. So, and you also fall in the category of the Republican Second Amendment worshipers that basically walk around like a hammer just looking for a nail. You're just looking for any reason to pull that gun and use it. You just can't wait to kill somebody, you know. And just I don't know what else to say. You're just a fucking clown ass. And everyone sees right through that. So it says that she's 33. She's shown walking down some steps. Yeah, we saw the video. Blah, 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 blah. I wanted to see if they... let's see. Members of Congress are allowed by law to carry weapons on Capitol grounds, but just not inside the chambers. So congressional aides are also allowed to carry the weapons for them. So... yes, it looks like they, of course, could, but they're on the grounds, but they're not able to take them inside, which, please try and fight that. You little 5 foot, 100-pound woman that the Secret Service or whoever it is, the guards Congress would pick you up and throw you over their shoulder and run off with you and dump you outside. So I don't think you'll be defying any laws, and you're not really a tough person. You're just a clown ass. So, congrats. So, Congress has adopted the rules governing January 6th Electoral College count. I don't think they're actually any different. But this was brought up because of this whole situation with Pence and Trump and what's going to happen with this. And it says the rules of Congress in January 6th session governing the counting of Electoral College votes will remain identical to those used for decades under a resolution adopted Sunday by the House and Senate. The rules, first obtained by Politico, were passed on voice votes in both chambers, in keeping with the recent history in which they've been uncontroversial afterthoughts in the process of finalizing the results of presidential elections. And Trump said, "Hold my beer." So as dozens of Republicans in the House and the Senate threatened to challenge the president-elect Joe Biden's victory, citing baseless claims of widespread voter fraud and irregularities, the rules have taken on new prominence. But none of those Republicans sought to block the adoption of the rules, even though some had supported an effort to block them in court. So the rules were introduced amid the first indications of the GOP pushback to the election challenges inside the House, where dozens of Republicans are embracing President Donald Trump's push to object to the election certification. A group of 7 House Republicans, including Freedom Caucus members such as Ken Buck of Colorado, Chip Roy of Texas, elect Nancy Mace of South Carolina, Libertarian Representative Thomas Massey from Kentucky, put out a rare and lengthy statement Sunday afternoon opposing the effort to challenge the election. The statement was also signed by Reps Kelly Armstrong and Mike Gallagher and Tom McClintock. They argue that the Constitution makes clear that the states, not Congress, are responsible for selecting electors, though they said they are outraged at the significant abuses in our election system. So basically, you know, they just had to say that this is a ceremonial role for the vice president, really. I know Ted Cruz, I heard arguing earlier today that that's not the case, that the founders wouldn't make such a silly rule that didn't mean anything. But really, would they not, though? I mean, you have to have somebody do it. Somebody has to count it. Or, you know, it's like, I don't understand. This is such an easy thing. That's just they need to be counted. You need somebody to count it. So you're just the vice president's going to do it. That's it. It's ceremonial. The court lawsuit that Gohmert and the Republicans have brought up has been shot down by the courts. And then after it was shot down, Louis Gohmert alluded that the Republicans now just need to be violent in the streets like Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Basically just calling for violence. So that's what happens when you win and beat a Republican thoroughly down and there's nothing they can do about it. They immediately turn to violence. That's how it is. And, you know, Gohmert calling for violence, I'm not surprised. Really, I'm not. So, basically, the procedures require Pence to introduce all papers purporting to be electoral votes. He is to read them alphabetical by state and offer lawmakers a chance to issue any objections along the way. These long-standing procedures permit as few as 2 lawmakers, a single House member and senator acting together to grind the process to a halt, forcing the House and Senate to break up the joint session and debate the challenges for 2 hours apiece before voting on them and returning to the joint session. In the letter to Democrats, Speaker Nancy Pelosi indicated that the full caucus would hold a call Monday 9 a.m. to discuss how the January 6th session will unfold, and separate strategy sessions will be convened for Democrats who hail from the states expected to be challenged by Trump's allies like Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Arizona. Over the years, we've experienced many challenges in the House, but no situation matches the Trump presidency and the Trump disrespect for the will of the people. And it's true. Donald Trump is literally looking to overturn the will of the people. He does not care at all. He would immediately dump democracy for a dictatorship if he knew that he could do it. But basically, the military, the leaders in the military community have said it would be asinine and unconstitutional for them to get involved in any of this, and so there will be no military coup. So now what you have is Donald Trump just flapping in the wind. Full clown makeup, full clown hair, full clown shoes, just out there flapping in the wind like a fucking moron. And it's embarrassing, man. It is. And especially someone like Trump, who's a narcissist. I knew that he's going to go scorched earth on all this, but it's going to get ugly. So... And Tom Cotton, who is a very far-right conservative, basically came out and said that he will not object to Biden's certification, and that pissed off Donald Trump. So President Trump on Monday targeted Tom Cotton a day after the senator said he would not join in an effort to object the certification, to object to the Electoral College votes affirming Joe Biden as the next president. How can you certify an election when the numbers being certified are verifiably wrong, Trump tweeted, suggesting that he would falsely claim during his rally in Georgia on Monday night that he was a true winner of the election despite multiple audits and court cases confirming that Biden had won and that Trump claims lacked standing. So Senator Cotton, Republicans have pluses and minuses, but one thing is sure, they never forget, Trump added, threatening him politically. So Cotton warned that an effort spearheaded by Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, two other potential 22... Yeah, and that's what this is all about. I'll get back to that in a minute. Cruz and Hawley were both probably going to be potential 2024 White House hopefuls. So to challenge electoral votes of several swing states that went for President-elect Joe Biden could establish unwise precedents. And even Lindsey Graham is against this. And so, like I said, Donald Trump is just hanging out there in the wind, full clown suit. Nothing anybody can do to help him. Nothing anybody can do to save this election for him because he lost, and he lost horribly. 7+ million votes in the popular vote and 306 electoral votes. So at this point, every court in the nation has told him he has no evidence. The Supreme Courts won't take it up. We're done. It's done. It's been done for a long time, and it's just getting old at this point. So, all right. I want to jump over. I'm going to just talk about this Jimmy Dore thing here real quick. The force the vote situation. I put out a seven tweet long tweet today, kind of describing how I felt on this whole issue. And I liked up until now, and I can't say that I don't, but I've always really liked Jimmy Dore. Even when Jimmy Dore kind of goes on the crazy end of things, then I'm not an idiot. I can discern, and most of everyone can discern where he goes a little crazy and where he doesn't. But for the most part, I mean, really, Jimmy is on the money when it comes to progressive issues. He really is. And I have issues with him and certain things I don't agree with. But when it came to Medicare for All and I saw that he was pushing for this, and I heard Jimmy's story, which was told, and you can now view it on his YouTube channel, about his rare bone disease and basically going completely and utterly bankrupt and bankrupting his wife because they couldn't afford the treatment and he was basically going to die. I mean, it was pretty bad. And I believe that Jimmy Dore has legitimate, health issues with his, bone disease and all these problems. I think that is all completely true. I don't think this was a grift. I don't think this was to make money. I mean, I really don't. I'm sure he enjoys the money that comes in from it because he's gotten a lot. But I don't think that was the point here. I really honestly think that Jimmy went at this because of he really truly wants Medicare for all. So I was with him even when he got nasty with people and was starting yelling. I don't really like the way he's talked to people, but I stuck with him because I just wanted that popularity for the Medicare for all. I wanted that to get out there, whether anything came of it at all. I just wanted it to be in the media. I wanted it to be a big deal so people would at least talk about it. And so I backed Jimmy, and I kept backing Jimmy, and people would attack Jimmy, and I would, fight back and defend him. And I don't know at what point it was. I think really probably I think it was the after show of the official Force the Vote town hall. There was an after show hosted by Katie Halpert. And man, it's just him screaming and yelling at people that he doesn't agree with and just nasty as can be. And I said in my tweet that I wrote out today that I think Jimmy probably has a substance abuse issue. And I don't know that for this pure speculation, but I think that he probably has some sort of a substance abuse issue. And I think that Jimmy really needs to get some help with that. He's really going scorched earth right now with the left. He's basically buried all of the Young Turks. He's aired dirty laundry, and he's just really kind of went over the top with a lot of this, and it's sad. But, in the end, I wish Jimmy well. I appreciate what Jimmy did as far as fighting for Medicare for all. I don't agree with the way that he did it. I don't agree with him yelling and canceling squad members and, just dial it back and you got it, bro. Like, just dial it back and you got it, man. That's it. That's all I can say. I just wanted to tell him to shut up sometime, but that's as far as as far as I go personally, that's where I stand on it. I wish Jimmy the best, but man, we can't divide ourselves like this with the left where everybody hates everybody, and it's like we all agree on 85-90% of the issues, but yet let's cancel each other because we don't agree on this one issue, And Jimmy's vitriol really ended up making this whole thing kind of backfire on him, unfortunately, because what did the squad do? Of course, they voted for Nancy Pelosi. Now, they did try and get rid of PAYGO, and PAYGO was really one of those things that needed to be you had to get rid of it really before you could do Medicare for all anyway, financially. If you're familiar with the PAYGO system, you can look that up. But that was what they negotiated, was to get rid of PAYGO, and then they voted unanimously for Nancy Pelosi. So we keep a Republican as the speaker, and that's how that goes. So let's see. Add a few other things here. Let's take a look at this here. All the Georgia election officials are, of course, appalled at Donald Trump calling their state, and so this has just been a nightmare, really, for the Republicans and Trump. And this was just another article talking about it, but we actually already kind of went over this part, so yeah. This article here I saw was Liz Cheney objecting to the Electoral College vote sets exceptionally dangerous precedent. And I don't know if you guys watch or read. You should go to Twitter and read the the official Arizona GOP blue check Twitter account, because it's really it seems like it's being ran by a 16-year-old from 8chan or something, and they're just very, very unprofessional for a legitimate site, and they've been bashing Liz Cheney here for quite some time. So I want to read a little bit of this here, what she said. Such objections, Cheney writes in her memo, set an exceptionally dangerous precedent, threatening to steal states' explicit constitutional responsibility for choosing the president and bestowing it on Congress. This is directly at odds with the Constitution and clear text and our core beliefs as Republicans. And she had a full memo that she released, and it really, really pissed off these GOP Trumper Republicans. And I was going through some, man, I'm fascinated with how quickly they turn on people. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you could be like, Reagan and be like, I don't really agree with Trump. But, oh, deep state, Reagan's deep state. He's always been a far leftist backed by George Soros. Like, oh my God, people. You're fucking dumb. You're fucking dumb. So, let's see. Oh, I saw this story. How scammers siphoned $36 billion in fraudulent unemployment payments from the United States. So, this was something that was touched on a while back when they were raising the amount of money given in unemployment, that they had discussed that there was massive fraud, and there was massive fraud on the what was supposed to be the PPP loans, the small, to help small businesses, and there was massive abuse and fraud on that. So basically, hackers have gotten in here, and it says that the unemployment fraud was first identified in the state of Washington in May and has since spread to all 50 states, skipping to new targets as government agencies plug holes exposed by the massive scams. Maiowa and his crew of foreign scammers focused in November on Hawaii, Florida, Pennsylvania. In addition to the crushing volume of legitimate claims during COVID-19 and public pressure to speed up payments, mobile banking apps and prepaid debit cards issued by some state unemployment offices paved the way for fraud this year. The step-by-step playbook the scammers follow is shared on Telegram, an app that provides cloud-based anonymous messaging and acts as an internet bulletin board of tips and questions. Asked whether he feels bad about stealing from unemployed Americans, he pointed out that 70% of his peers in school are working the scams as side hustles too. No remorse, he said. We don't know them. We don't know who they are. It's nobody. States for years have prepared for low-level fraud, focusing on whether actual state residents filing for unemployment were telling the truth. The recent wave of imposter fraud, including from overseas, caught them off guard. In Washington, alarms began flashing red for Susie Levine on May 12th. It was 10 p.m., and the message was clear: we are under attack. The commissioner of the state's unemployment system knew claims were increasing and the pandemic and its economic devastation spread, but suddenly claims were tenfold what they had been. Things got out of hand quickly. Within 2 weeks, the CARES Act funding enriching weekly benefits from $600 million had been bled from the state system, roughly 8% of the $8.6 billion paid over the summer. The state pulled the plug on all payments for 2 days while it struggled to figure out what was happening. So it was a massive fraud, and they basically, just because these state governments were just not prepared. For the absolute sheer volume of unemployment that had to be paid out, because no one expected the pandemic, and we didn't expect that everyone was going to be on unemployment like this. So really, they're just, I hate to be, I work in IT. I've worked in IT my entire life. I would hate to be working in IT where this is taking place and that they're having to, try and handle this, because their traffic load is through the roof, and then they've got all of their time and effort spent just trying to get things to work, to get checks sent out as quickly as possible, and they are not vetting these systems very well, and this is what's happened. So that's a lot of money. A lot of money. $36 billion in unemployment. Gone. What could we do with $36 billion? Quite a bit. So I listened to the entire Georgia Secretary of State, and he's basically just telling people that just don't listen to the clown ass, go vote, don't worry about it, that kind of thing. But I think the damage has been done with Trump and the Georgia Senate runoff. So we'll see about that. Like I said, I'm going to be trying to cover this live tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'll stay on for the entire thing, if it's going to run real late, but we'll start at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll, check out some coverages of it, different people covering it, things like that, and we'll talk about it. So, all right, folks, it was a quick one for tonight, but we're pretty much caught up on everything that's super important right now, and we got a really important 2 days coming up. So we have the Senate runoff race tomorrow. Like I said, I'll be covering that 7 p.m. Eastern. And then the day after that, we have January the 6th, which is the day the Trump maggot heads blow up because Mike Pence didn't come save their ass like they all think he's going to. The instant that he certifies that, deep state, gone. They'll never talk to him. They'll never support him. They'll never help him again. And that is just how they are. So anyway, folks, if you're new to this show, please like, subscribe, comment. As a new YouTuber like myself getting into a very saturated genre of political talk on YouTube, every subscription, like, share, comment, all of those things are very important to me, and I appreciate it. So thanks for watching. This is the Be Progressive Show, and I am Brandon Neal.